Bringing the expert to you. When it comes to using paper or plastic, more people are going plastic these days, especially when it comes to your money, your finances. So this morning, we are going in-depth. We're focusing on college students and credit card usage with CPA Alan Sandersen, one of our money contributors. Alan, the Credit Card Act that took effect about 2.5 years ago makes it much harder for anybody under the age of 21 to get a credit card, right? Yeah, it really does, and that's probably a plus, quite frankly, for people that are under 21, because it keeps you from making some of those disastrous first mistakes that you might have otherwise made. But the fact of the matter is, if you go into college, then you're going to have something, or if you're first starting off, you have to have some kind of a fallback position. But the credit card issuers do have different standards. Now, if you're a student or you're going to college, you're first starting off, that credit card is not something that you use for permanent financing of whatever you happen to be buying. It's for emergencies only. It's for bridge financing. And if people could keep that in their mind, then they're going to be a lot better off as they go through life. So you don't use it for a Friday night beer run? What? I'm kidding. You don't pay for it for 30 years. Yeah, at 12% per month. That 12-pack costs $300 then. Alan, okay, so what should you do if you're a parent before you co-sign for a credit card for your kid? We're going to find out with Alan in about 10 minutes. College kids and credit cards, it can be a very dangerous mix. So this morning, we're looking at how you need to consider, what you need to consider, I should say, before the charging begins. CPA Alan Sandersen is back once again. And Alan, since some college students probably won't get approved on their own, many parents have to co-sign. So what should they know before they sign on that dotted line? Well, that's what you're doing here is taking on a little bit of risk for your child. So you need to take into consideration their propensity to maybe have young adults' forgetfulness when they come to paying those bills. Make sure that you keep the limit low in that case. You don't want them running up a gigantic debt, not realizing they're running it up, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with paying it. By the same token, you don't want the situations where maybe they do get forgetful, and now you're stuck with taking a ding on your credit history as a result of that. So be very, very careful. Get off with a very low limit. Make sure that you realize that if your child doesn't pay or cannot pay or gets in over their head with that card, you're stuck with it. So keep the limit low, maybe keep on the account so that you can see it, and just make sure that you keep a lid on things so that the student doesn't make some mistakes that you come to regret. Okay, and another question is, are prepaid cards a better route? Well, in our next half hour, Alan will explain if they can really benefit a college student's credit. We'll see Alan in a bit. I'm bringing the expert to you. We're talking college students and credit cards this morning, but there is another option. We're going to talk about prepaid cards right now with CPA Alan Sandersen. He's back once again. So, Alan, what do you think? Will prepaid cards help or hurt a college student's credit? Well, they may not do much for your credit at all, but they do keep you, obviously, from getting negatives on some of your credit record in most cases. The thing you want to think about is really secured versus a prepaid card. In a case of a secured card, if you have maybe a tougher credit profile, that might be the way you're forced to go. They're lending you your own money, and so I guess if you can't get a secured credit card, someone won't lend you your own money, you get problems. But that's a big plus. But the thing you want to consider about these things is make sure that if you do that route, that you know that they are going to be reporting to those credit agencies so that you can at least get some benefit from having borrowed basically your own money and paid interest for it. All right, so how do debit cards compare? Find out in just a few minutes. Alan, thank you, sir. Yeah. $18 million just to give your opinion. I did the math. I get 18 cents per opinion. I'm not Mariah Carey, though. All right, last segment with Alan now. College students, you know, they got a lot of options to build credit these days. What's the best? We've talked about credit cards and prepaid cards, and you know, what's the best thing to use when you go off to college? Be responsible with it. So Alan, what about debit cards? What's your take? Probably not a bad option, especially if you use it in connection with maybe a secured card. You can set up a little secured card, run some auto pay items through it, maybe the television, cable, this, that, and the other thing, and auto pay it. Now you're building a credit history. Then you give them a prepaid debit card for the discretionary purchases, the food and this and that, and now all of a sudden you've taught them also how to budget responsibly through the prepaid debit card. So you can kill two birds with both stones doing it that way. A really good option, and probably a smart way to go for that young student who's just trying to learn how to work things through financially. Alan Sandersen, certified public accountant. We appreciate your insight and knowledge all morning long. Alan, thanks very much. You bet.